Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Good to be here.
It's Thursday, January 22nd, 2026. And honestly, looking at the stack of research we have on the desk today, I feel like we almost need a safety warning before we even start.
A safety warning. That's an ominous start.
No, I'm serious. I mean, usually we're breaking down market trends or, analyzing a new biotech startup, looking at geopolitical shifts. But
Today's different.
Today we are doing something completely different. We are tackling the single biggest anxiety inducer in modern life, artificial intelligence, but we're doing it through a lens that I frankly didn't expect to be relevant at all. We are looking at AI through the eyes of Rudolf Steiner and anthroposophy.
It does sound like a contradiction in terms, doesn't it?
It really does.
On one hand, you have this, turn of the 20th century esoteric philosopher, the man behind Waldorf education, biodynamic farming. It's all very analog, very soil and soul. And on the other hand, we have the most disruptive digital synthetic technology in human history.
Exactly. It feels like oil and water. And the reason this deep dive feels so heavy to me is because the conclusion we've arrived at, well, it's not what people want to hear.
No.
I think most of us, especially anyone who considers themselves spiritually aware or just, exhausted by screen time, we have this fantasy. I call it the log cabin protocol.
The log cabin protocol. I like that. It paints a vivid picture.
You know the one. The news is terrifying, the algorithms are invasive, the bots are getting smarter than us. So the spiritual move is to buy a plot of land in the middle of nowhere, throw the smartphone into a lake, and, grow heirloom tomatoes until the apocalypse blows over.
Right. The ultimate retreat.
It is.
And it is a very seductive fantasy. It feels pure. It feels like you're reclaiming your humanity.
Right. But that is the problem. According to the deep dive we've done into these Steiner lectures, specifically the GA series like 146, 177, 205, and others, that fantasy isn't just naive. It is framed explicitly as a trap.
A spiritual trap.
Worse, it's framed as a fatal error. We are calling this deep dive the Michaelic mandate. And the core thesis here is going to upset a lot of people who think unplugging is a virtue.
Yeah.
Because the sources suggest that running away from AI is actually a form of cowardice that endangers the future of human consciousness.
It is a bold, almost aggressive claim. But when you get into the mechanics of why Steiner says this, decades before the computer was even invented, it starts to make an uncomfortable amount of sense.
So the mission today is to deconstruct that fear. We want to understand why hiding is wrong and then look at the alternative, which the sources describe as a battle plan for redeeming the technology.
Right. And we're going to talk about some very strange, very specific imagery today. We have a spider's web that covers the planet, a consuming fire that burns invisible beings, and a surprisingly heated debate about typewriters.
The typewriter breakdown is my favorite part. It's just wild. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I want to start with the diagnosis. We need to understand the sickness before we look at the cure. Why is my urge to move to a cabin and ignore ChatGPT considered a trap?
To understand that, we have to look at GA 146. Steiner is discussing the concept of materialism. Now, for most of us, materialism is just. It's an intellectual worldview.
Sure.
It's the scientific idea that matter is the only reality, atoms, neurons, chemistry, and that there is no soul, no spirit, no afterlife.
Right. It's the default setting for modern science. It's a philosophical stance. I believe in what I can measure.
That's how we usually frame it.
Yeah.
But Steiner flips that completely. He argues that materialism isn't actually a logical conclusion that people arrive at because the evidence forces them to. He calls it cowardice before the spiritual.
Cowardice. That implies it's an emotional reaction, not a logical one.
Precisely. He suggests that deep down, subconsciously, the human being is terrified of the spiritual world. Think about it. If the spiritual world is real, it implies responsibility. It implies that your thoughts have weight, that your life has a destiny, that you are accountable to something higher. That is a heavy burden.
So if I say, I'm just a biological machine, my thoughts are just chemical firings, and when I die, the lights go out, I'm effectively letting myself off the hook.
Exactly. It's much safer. It requires less courage. It allows you to live without that cosmic weight. And Steiner argues that this fear, this subconscious terror of the unknown, is a food source.
Okay, now we're getting into the esoteric weeds. A food source for what?
This is where we have to define our terms. In the anthroposophical worldview, there are specific adversarial powers. And the one relevant to technology, cold intelligence, and bureaucracy is called Ahriman.
Ahriman, right? This is a name that comes up constantly in these texts.
It does. Ahriman is the being associated with cold, dry intellect. He's the spirit of statistics, of rigid logic, of the hardening of the earth. He is the force that wants to reduce everything to measure, number, and weight.
So if you think about an algorithm that optimizes for engagement regardless of truth.
That is a purely Ahrimanic mechanism.
So Ahriman isn't chaotic evil. He's not the guy burning down the village. He's efficient evil.
He is hyper-efficient. He is the perfect machine. He wants order, but an order devoid of life. And here's the trap. If you run away from the world because you are afraid of it, if you run to your log cabin because you fear the soullessness of AI, you are acting out of fear. And fear connects you to Ahriman.
That is the ultimate irony. By trying to escape the cold machine, I'm feeding the spirit of the machine.
You are capitulating. You are saying, I am too weak to face this reality, so I will withdraw. And by withdrawing, you leave the field open.
You cede the territory.
You cede the territory. And this brings us to the spider's web.
This image from GA205 actually gave me the creeps when I was reading the source notes. Can you walk us through what Steiner saw? Because this wasn't just a metaphor for him, was it?
No, for Steiner, this was a visionary reality. In GA205, he describes a vision of the future of the Earth. He says that if humanity fails to enliven its thinking, if we stick to purely abstract, intellectual, logical thoughts, the Earth will eventually be surrounded by a great Earth spider.
It's a web covering the entire planet.
A web. He describes it as being woven out of tangled spiders. He says these are cold, dead thoughts. Thoughts that have no human warmth, no connection to the heart, just connectivity, just logic, just data transfer.
I mean, pause for a second. If you look at a map of undersea fiber optic cables or a visualization of the internet or even the nodes of a neural network,
It looks like a web.
it looks exactly like a web.
It fits the description perfectly. It is a network of pure intellect devoid of feeling. But the crucial point is the substance of the web. He says it is woven of dead thoughts.
Okay.
And this is the danger of the log cabin retreat. If all the people who have warm hearts, the people who care about spirit, art, humanity, ethics, if they all unplug and go to the woods, who is left to populate the web?
The cold thinkers, the bots, the algorithms, the trolls.
Exactly. We leave the culture of the word. And let's be honest, the internet is the primary vehicle for the word in our time. We leave it entirely to Ahriman.
Wow.
We allow the earth to become what Steiner called a silent world of machinery.
Silent meaning devoid of spirit.
Yes. There is a chilling quote from GA214 where he envisions a future world where wheels, rollers, and levers no longer speak. The machine runs perfectly, the logistics are flawless, the AI generates infinite content, but there is no human consciousness inside it. It's a zombie infrastructure.
And Ahriman's goal is to make that happen, to turn the Earth into a cosmic machine.
Correct. He wants to harden the earth into a corpse, a highly efficient corpse.
So by hiding, by refusing to engage with technology, we are effectively saying, go ahead, take it, build your corpse.
That's the implication, yes.
That completely reframes the moral high ground. We tend to think of the tech refusenik, the guy who refuses to use email or won't touch AI, as this noble, pure figure. But in this light, they're actually a deserter.
It changes the moral calculus from purity to courage. It's no longer, I am virtuous because I don't use AI. It becomes, I am failing my duty because I am afraid to engage with it. You are leaving the battlefield.
Okay, that hits hard. That hits really hard.
Yeah.
But let's play devil's advocate, or maybe Ahriman's advocate for a second.
Go for it.
Engaging with this stuff is draining. It feels soulless. When I stare at a generated image or read a generated article, I feel a kind of emptiness. How are we supposed to engage without losing ourselves? Is there a precedent for this?
This is where the research gets really surprising. Because while AI is new to us, the spiritual challenge of mechanized thought, it isn't. Steiner dealt with a technological disruption in his own time that he hated just as much as we hate deepfakes.
You're talking about the typewriter.
The typewriter and shorthand stenography.
It's hard to keep a straight face thinking about the typewriter as a tool of the devil. It's retro. It's nostalgic.
To us, it's a hipster accessory. To him, in the early 20th century, it was the cutting edge of Ahrimanic mechanization. In GA204 and GA222, he really goes after it. He calls the typewriter grotesque.
Grotesque, that's a strong word. Why? What is grotesque about a typewriter?
It's about the disconnect.
Yeah.
He argues that when you write by hand, there is a continuous flow from the human being, the heart, the blood, the nervous system, into the shaping of the letters.
Okay.
The physical act of writing is connected to the soul. You are physically forming the thought.
Okay, I can feel that. There's an intimacy to handwriting. It feels personal.
But when you type,
Yeah.
you are hitting a lever. You are pecking. It's mechanical. It separates the human head from the human heart. He says it turns the human into a mere head, a finger-pecking machine. It mechanizes the expression of the soul.
And that sounds a lot like our complaints about AI art or writing. You didn't paint that. You just typed a prompt. It's the same disconnect, just scaled up a million times.
It is the exact same principle. It is the separation of the creator from the creation via a mechanism. But, and this is the pivot point of the entire episode, despite calling it grotesque, despite identifying it as Ahrimanic, look at what he says in GA 208.
He says we have to use it.
He is explicit. He says we cannot be reactionaries. We cannot simply say, this is bad, and refuse to participate in the evolution of the world.
Wow.
And then he drops this incredible line that I think is the key to the whole puzzle. The demons themselves need to be redeemed.
The demons themselves need to be redeemed. That is such a wild concept. Usually in spiritual literature, you cast out demons, you banish them, you don't fix them.
In this specific context regarding technology, you transform them. Steiner's argument is that we must use the Ahrimanic tool, the typewriter then, the large language model now, but we must bring the spirit into it.
How do you bring spirit into a chatbot? I mean, it's code, it's Silicon, it doesn't have a soul to connect with.
This requires understanding the nature of the machine. In the education lecture, Steiner talks about machines being spiritually transparent.
Transparent, what does that mean?
Think of it this way. A machine has no secrets. It is pure logic, pure cause and effect.
Yeah.
A gear turns because another gear turned it. Code executes because the syntax commands it.
Okay.
There's no hidden soul or mystery or subconscious inside the mechanism itself. It's empty. Because it is empty of spirit, it is a vacuum.
And nature abhors a vacuum.
Exactly. This is the key. Because the machine is a spiritual vacuum, it draws in whatever is projected into it.
Okay.
If the user is empty, if you were just mindlessly scrolling or prompting for greed or letting the AI do your thinking for you, then the machine remains empty. Or worse, it gets filled with those Ahrimanic elemental spirits we talked about. It becomes a cold amplifier of nothingness.
It amplifies the slop.
Exactly. But if the user is filled with spirit,
Then the machine amplifies that.
then the machine becomes a tool for scaling that spirit.
Yeah.
AI doesn't generate truth. We know this. It generates probability. It predicts the next token based on patterns.
It's a vessel.
It is a vessel. It is waiting for the user to provide the impulse of truth.
So it's a multiplier. If I am 0, it multiplies 0.
Yeah.
If I am negative, it multiplies negative. But if I bring something real...
If you bring what Steiner calls moral imagination, and this is from GA 212, if you bring a forceful, warmed human intention into the prompt, you are essentially taking a cold, dead skeleton and animating it.
You're breathing life into.
You are turning the laboratory table into an altar.
Turning the laboratory table into an altar, that's a powerful image, converting the workspace into a sacred space. So applying this to 2026, the Michaelic mandate isn't don't use AI. It's use AI, but be so incredibly human and spiritually present while you do it that you overwhelm the mechanism.
Precisely. You are the soul. The AI is the exoskeleton.
Right.
Without you, it's a corpse. With you, it can do work. We have to view ourselves as the soul insert for the digital network.
Okay, I love this because it moves us from victim to master. It's empowering. But I want to get tactical. How do we actually fight this battle? Is it just about having good vibes while I type? You know, I'm sending love to the algorithm? Or is there a specific way to engage?
It is definitely not just vibes, it's physics. Spiritual physics.
All right, lay it on me. Section 3, the consuming fire.
This comes from GA 177. And honestly, this is the most encouraging part of the research because it reveals a weakness in the adversary.
A weakness.
Yes. We tend to think of Ahriman or the system as invincible. But Steiner describes what happens when these Ahrimanic beings encounter a human mind that is filled with actual spiritual wisdom.
What happens? Do they ignore it?
It burns them.
Literally, like burns them.
He uses the phrase consuming fire. He says, heads filled with spiritual wisdom are like a consuming fire to Ahrimanic beings.
Wow, okay. That changes the picture completely.
Think about the physics of it. Ahriman feels comfortable in a computer bank. He feels comfortable in bureaucracy. He feels comfortable in a head.
Right. Low vibration, pure data.
But warmth. And Steiner means this literally, not just poetically, the warmth of enthusiasm, of love, of higher conceptual thinking. These are fundamentally different frequencies.
Okay.
To Ahriman, that warmth is a terror of darkness. That's a quote from GA 177. It creates an environment where he cannot function.
So if I am engaging with the internet, the spider's web, and I am putting out content that is derived from this warmth, I'm essentially creating a firewall, a literal firewall.
You are creating a zone of exclusion, a zone where the cold logic cannot take hold because the heat is too high. And the strategy here, if we extrapolate from the Michaelic mandate, is that we need to flood the algorithm.
Flood the algorithm? That sounds aggressive.
It is strategic. Think about it. If the adversary is using AI to scale lies or just slop meaningless, cold, dead content at the speed of silicon, we cannot retreat. We cannot simply post one thoughtful essay a month and hope for the best.
We'd get drowned out.
Instantly. We have to scale truth at the same speed.
Fight fire with fire, or in this case, fight ice with fire.
We have to out-publish the machine, or rather, use the machine to publish the spirit. We use the Ahrimanic infrastructure, the servers, the fiber, the LLMs to distribute Michaelic content.
Okay, I'm with you on the strategy, but what is Michaelic content? What are we actually talking about here? Are we talking about posting love and light memes or inspirational quotes over sunsets?
No. It has to be sharper than that. It has to be content that specifically disrupts the materialistic worldview.
Okay.
The expert analysis of the sources points to a very specific, very potent concept mentioned in GA 203. Unbornness.
Unbornness. That's an unusual word. Unpack that for us.
So interestingly, Ahriman tolerates the idea of immortality, life after death.
Why? I mean, that sounds spiritual.
Because if you only focus on life after death, Ahriman can still try to capture the soul in that phase. Plus, many materialistic views can sort of accommodate a ghost-in-the-machine idea. It's vague, it's far away.
Right.
But what Ahriman absolutely hates is the concept of pre-existence. The idea that you existed before you were born.
Why does that trigger him? What's the problem with that?
Because unbornness implies you come from the divine. It implies you originate from a world that is completely outside of the timeline, completely outside of cause and effect, completely outside of his control.
It implies an eternal origin.
Yes. It means I am not a product of the earth.
I'm not just a result of my genetics and my environment.
Exactly. It means you are a visitor here. GA 203 says he is terrified of this concept. It disrupts his narrative that man is just a biological machine that starts at birth and ends at death. If you are unborn, you are sovereign.
That is fascinating. So the content strategy for the Michaelic warrior in 2026 isn't just vague spirituality. It's specific high-level spiritual concepts, like the dignity of the human origin injected into the digital stream.
Concepts that affirm human freedom. Concepts that challenge the idea that we are just data points. These are the consuming fire.
And we need to scale them.
We need to scale them.
And this is where the metric comes in. The outline mentions a target, 3 to 5 videos a day.
Right. It sounds like a lot.
I know, but think about the capacity of the tools we have. If you have a tool that can write 10 articles in an hour or edit 5 videos in an afternoon, and you use it to flood the zone with these concepts of human dignity and eternal origin.
You're doing the work of a lifetime.
You are doing work that would have taken a scribe a lifetime. You are weaponizing the typewriter.
You are turning the scaling mechanism of the adversary against him. You are occupying the digital territory with warmth.
That's the idea.
That's a rallying cry if I've ever heard one. Occupy the web. What? I have to pull us back to reality for a second.
Please.
Because this all sounds heroic, but we are still dealing with a very dangerous tool.
We are.
Is it safe? I mean, really, we are talking about diving into the belly of the beast. If this spider's web is as dangerous and dead as Steiner says, aren't we risking something by plugging our brains into it 24/7, even with good intentions?
Absolutely. And we would be irresponsible if we didn't address the risks. This brings us to Section 4, the safety protocol.
We cannot be naive about this. You don't walk into a nuclear reactor without a suit.
Right, because GA 157 gives a pretty stark warning, doesn't it?
It does. It warns that using technology without spiritual grounding turns the user into an automaton.
An automaton, an NPC, a non-player character.
Essentially. And worse, it allows demonic elemental spirits to enter the soul.
Okay, that sounds like a horror movie. What does that actually look like in 2026? What does that mean for us?
It looks like losing your will. If you are passive, if you just let the TikTok algorithm wash over you for hours, or if you let the AI do all the thinking while you zone out, you are opening the door. You are becoming a vessel for the machine's logic, not your own.
You become a servant of the machine. You lose your sovereignty.
You lose your... So the Michaelic mandate isn't just attack, it's defense first. You need armor.
What is the armor? Is it a literal ritual? Sage is smudging my laptop?
No, it's a discipline. The sources point to the 6 basic exercises, which are foundational to anthroposophy. They're like mental boot camp.
Give us the rundown. What does mental boot camp look like?
Well, we don't have time to do a full workshop, but let's look at the first 2, because they are so critical for AI users. The first is control of thought.
Control of thought.
Can you focus on one thing, like a pencil or a safety pin, for 5 minutes without your mind wandering?
5 minutes? I can barely go 5 seconds without checking my notifications.
Exactly. And that is why we are vulnerable. If you cannot control your own attention, the algorithm will control it for you. The exercise is to rebuild that muscle, to say, I am thinking about this pencil and nothing else because I chose to.
It's about reclaiming the steering wheel of your mind.
Yes. The second one is initiative of will. Can you decide to do something small, like water a plant at 4 p.m. exactly, or move a ring from one finger to another and actually do it? Not because you have to, not because an app reminded you, but purely because you decided to.
It sounds simple, but it's about proving to yourself that you are the one driving the bus.
It's about strengthening the I. The argument is, you cannot be a master of the AI prompt if you're not the master of your own mind.
Right.
If you are scattered, the AI will scatter you further. If you are focused, you can focus the AI.
So the prerequisite for using ChatGPT safely is meditation. Is that what this is?
Well, in this worldview, yes.
Yeah.
Inner work. You have to be stronger than the tool you are wielding. If the tool is powerful, the user must be powerful. Otherwise, the tool uses you.
There was also a specific invocation mentioned in the etheric projection source, something about Michael.
Yes, it's a visualization. Michael before me, Michael behind me. It positions the user as a warrior, not a victim. It's about setting the intention before you log on.
Yeah.
I'm going in to do work, not to be worked on.
It's like putting on the hazmat suit before entering the lab.
Exactly. And then there's the hygiene aspect. After you log off, the touch grass protocol.
Literally touching grass.
The source says you must return energy to the heart center and ground yourself. You have to consciously disconnect. You can't just drift away from the screen and go to bed. You have to sever the link and reclaim your humanity.
It's like a deep sea diver coming up for air. You can't stay down in the pressure zone forever. You get the bends.
No. The digital world is what Steiner calls sub-nature. It's below nature. We have to come back up to nature and eventually to supernature, which is the spirit to recharge. If you live in sub-nature, you wither.
This really reframes the whole digital detox idea. It's not about avoiding the digital because it's icky or bad. It's about recovering your strength so you can go back in and fight.
It's a tactical retreat, not a surrender. You rest so you can return to the front line.
So let's bring this all together. The Michaelic mandate. It sounds like we are being called to be spiritual special forces.
I think that's a fair analogy. We are operating behind enemy lines. We are using the enemy's infrastructure to transmit the signals that defeat him.
Let's recap the battle plan. We have the diagnosis. Fear is the enemy, not the machine. Hiding is cowardice.
Check. If you hide, you hand the victory to Ahriman.
We have the solution. The typewriter precedent.
Yeah.
We have to redeem the machine by bringing spirit into it. We have to be the soul of the computer.
Check. The machine is transparent. Fill it with moral imagination.
We have the tactic, the consuming fire. Flood the web with high-frequency, spiritual, truth-like unbornness that burns the Ahrimanic fog. Scale truth as fast as they scale lies.
Check. Flood the zone.
And we have the safety protocol, the 6 exercises. Discipline your mind so you don't become a zombie.
That is the mandate.
You know, it's funny, when you look at it this way, AI stops looking like this inevitable crushing wave of doom. It starts looking like a test.
A test of human freedom. That is exactly what Steiner says. The gods allow these Ahrimanic forces to rise up specifically so that human beings can develop the strength to overcome them. If we didn't have resistance, we wouldn't have muscles.
Ahriman is the gym equipment.
He is the resistance weight. He wants to crush you. He wants you to fail. But if you push back, if you maintain your humanity in the face of the machine, you get stronger than you ever could have been in a log cabin.
Right.
You develop a strength that is forged in fire.
That is actually incredibly optimistic in a gritty, determined kind of way. It's not everything will be okay. It's We can handle this.
It's what Michaelic courage is about.
Yes.
It's not a naive optimism that says everything will be fine. It's a courageous will that says, I will make it fine.
I will make it fine. That's the takeaway.
There's one more thought I want to leave with the listeners. It's from GA 205 again.
The spider lecture.
Yes. Steiner says this Earth spider is being woven right now. It is happening. We see it. The satellites, the cables, the data centers, the web is being spun. That is not up for debate.
We can't stop the weaving.
No. But the question he leaves us with is, what is the substance of the web?
What do you mean?
Is it being woven solely of cold, dead, binary thoughts? Is it just a web of calculation? Or will we weave strands of consuming fire into it? Will we weave human warmth into the digital infrastructure?
The machine is waiting for us.
It is waiting for you. It is waiting for your input.
So, to everyone listening, don't throw away your smartphone. Don't hide in the woods. Sharpen your mind, open your heart, and get to work.
Wield the sword.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you on the next one.